What's up, grade 11s? Welcome to Tutorbox Live in conjunction with COVID-19 courses. My name is Andrea and I am the Tutorbox English tutor. Who am I, you ask? Well, my name is Andrea and I'm a second year BCom law student. Yes, BCom law. Why am I tutoring English, you may ask yourself? I'm quite pedantic when it comes to grammar and spelling and all sorts of stuff, have quite a knack for English. Why not share my skills with you guys so that you can improve your marks? If your goal is just to pass high school or to get a good mark to get into whatever course you want into university, I'm gonna help you. So don't stress, guys, with my help. If you just listen to my tips, I got some good tips and some good exercises. You gotta actually do the exercises, practice, like with every subject. I know English, you don't think you need to practice, but it actually really helps. So practice and read books to improve your vocabulary, guys. Vocabulary is important.
Excuse me, sorry, do you speak English?
No, I don't, sorry.
Oh. My car's broken down and I wondered if you could tell me where to find a garage.
Well, that's wasted on me. I don't understand what you're saying.
You don't speak any English at all?
Not a word, no. It's one of those things where I wish I paid more attention in school, but,
In any case, today's lesson is going to be on comprehension skills for you grade 11s. We're focusing on comprehension. So comprehension is quite a big part of the exam, as you guys know. So I thought I'd focus on some tips and we do some exercises from some past papers to help you guys, because practice makes perfect. So let's get to it. So today we're going to look at what is comprehension and why is it tested, tips on how to answer comprehension type questions, and some examples. What is comprehension and why is it tested? Comprehension is the ability to understand something. Teachers want to see that you can read a passage and interpret what it means. A tip to answer is to answer how you think the teachers would want you to answer the question. It's usually the most obvious interpretation that they want. How to answer comprehension questions. So these are a few tips that I've developed and accumulated over the years that I find really help when it comes to answering comprehension type questions. The first tip is to give full answers. For example, if the question is, what did Sam like to do on a Saturday afternoon? Answer the question like this. Sam liked to paint on a Saturday afternoon. Instead of just giving a short answer like paint or he liked to paint, try and incorporate the question when you're answering as much as possible. The second tip is to base your answer on facts only. Try and avoid adding your opinion unless, obviously, if the question is asking for it, then give your opinion. The third tip is to try and understand the gist of the passage. If there are some words or sentences that you don't understand, don't let it throw you off. Look at the passage as a whole and try and understand the main message it's trying to convey. The fourth tip is to decide on your preferred method. Some students prefer to read the whole passage first and then look at the questions. This method works just fine. However, my preferred method is to read through the questions and then the passage. This way, in the back of my mind, I'll know what I'm looking for when I read the passage. Okay, then this time management over here is actually supposed to be the fifth tip. So, time management. This is very important. You should look at the mark allocation. If the question is for 2 marks, it should only be about a sentence or 2 sentences long. You should spend more time on longer questions. Practicing past papers will also assist in managing your time when answering questions. A lot of students will see a 2-mark question and think that they need to go into so much detail about it, which is normal. I used to do it. But then you'll run out of time for questions that actually count for more. So although you might have a lot to write for a 2-mark question, just try and shorten it as much as possible because it's only for 2 marks. Okay, so the 6th tip is to answer the easiest questions first. Some questions will be easier than others. You should answer the easiest questions first and don't spend too much time on them, and then leave the harder questions for last. The final tip here is read the passage properly. Whatever you do, don't read some of it and then assume you know what it's about without fully reading it. So this is my favorite tip, guys. Just pretend you're a British person from the 1900s. Use proper English. Do not use any slang words. Remember to use punctuation properly. Avoid using contractions as much as possible, such as don't, can't, or it's. Rather use do not, cannot, and it is where applicable. Now, guys, when I say pretend you're a British person from the 1900s, I mean, the classy, oh, I speak properly British person. Not, it's a nice day, isn't it? Not that type of British person. So for me, the best way to learn English is by practicing and looking at exercises and examples to help you guys. So now we're just going to look at a few worksheets, well, one worksheet. Look at the questions, I'll read them through with you guys, give you some time to answer, and then I'll go through the answers with you guys. So guys, let's begin with this passage. Confucianism. Confucianism is a religion based on the teachings of Confucius. It was founded in China around the 6th/5th century BCE, and today nearly 6 million adherents. Unlike many religions which are characterized by specific traditional practices, Confucianism has no practices. Rather, it concerns itself with ethical principles. Prior to the birth of its founder, Confucius, China was ruled by the Zhou Empire for 500 years. When it became threatened by civil unrest, which in turn threatened the values of the traditional Chinese culture, Confucius saw this time of ideological crisis as an opportunity to reinforce declining societal values. Raised in poverty, Confucius was a passionate learner and became a master of the 6 arts: archery, calligraphy, computation, music, chariot driving, and ritual. He held several minor government posts and hoped for a career in politics. But though loyal to the king, his moral rectitude was distasteful to the king's inner circle, who preferred to focus on and influence the king towards a more sensuous life. Though his political desires were frustrated, he nonetheless acquired a great following of students. The main principle of Confucianism, Ren, means humaneness or benevolence, and excellence of character in accordance to ritual norms, loyalty to one's true nature, reciprocity, and filial piety, which together constitute virtue. Confucius believed in the cumulative power of culture and felt that there was significance in the fact that rituals, such as the ancestral cult, reverence for heaven, and mourning ceremonies had survived for centuries. He did not see himself as advancing anything new. Rather, he championed the conservation of the cultural values and social norms which had sustained the Zhou dynasty. Thus, Confucius cannot rightly be said to have founded Confucianism, but merely breathed new life into beliefs and principles that had already been in existence. The sacred scripture of Confucianism is called the Analects, and is thought to have been compiled by Confucius' disciples. It is based on the sayings of Confucius, and has been preserved in both oral tradition and as a written document. It is comparable to the dialogues of Plato with regards to its ability to capture the spirit of Confucius, the teacher. In it, Confucius describes himself as the sort of man who forgets to eat when he engages himself in vigorous pursuit of learning, who is so full of joy that he forgets his worries, and who does not notice that old age is coming on. Okay guys, I hope my reading soothed you somewhat. We're going to move on to the questions now. I'll read them through and then give you some time to answer, and then I'll give you the answers, okay? Okay guys, so the first question is Confucius the founder of Confucianism? Second question, describe the practices of Confucianism. Third question. What political event occurred that paved the way for Confucianism? Fourth question. Why was Confucius unsuccessful in securing a political career? Fifth question. What is the main principle of Confucianism? And the last question is, what is the sacred scripture of Confucianism called and who wrote it? Okay guys, so because that was just a worksheet, it's not very interpretive. It's mainly just I wanted to test your guys' basic reading or listening skills, so that you could answer these questions quite basically. I'll go through the answers with you, and then I'll also just describe how you would actually answer them in a comprehension exam. So the answer to the first question is no. He merely breathed new life into beliefs and principles that had already been in existence. This answer is written down word for word as it is in the paragraph, which is what you should not do in exams, in comprehension exams. Don't look at the paragraph and write down the answer word for word. Rather change the words and put it in your own words so that it looks like you've interpreted the meaning of the passage. The second answer is unlike many religions which are characterized by specific traditional practices, Confucianism has no practices. Rather, it concerns itself with ethical principles. Again, this is word for word in the paragraph, as it is in the paragraph. So just change up the words, show that you know what this means. Don't just copy and paste. The third answer is civil unrest threatening the Chao dynasty. Who's asking what political event paved the way for Confucianism? I think a better way that number 3 could have been answered was just to incorporate the fact that civil unrest threatening the Chao dynasty and then add is what paved the way for Confucianism. Just to make it a more complete and fuller answer. So the fourth question was why was Confucius unsuccessful in securing a political career? The answer that they've put down for this is though loyal to the king, his moral rectitude was distasteful to the king's inner circle, who preferred to focus on and influence the king towards a more sensuous life. This is literally directly from the paragraph, so just try and avoid this type of copy and paste answer. Again, this is just to test that you were listening, that you were reading through the comprehension correctly, and that you know the actual answer. So the fifth question was, what is the main principle of Confucianism? This can just be a simple answer stated here, which is humaneness / benevolence. Just to incorporate the question into the answer, just try and say the main principle of Confucianism is humaneness and benevolence. You don't really have to find your own words here because it's such a short answer. The final question was, what is the sacred scripture of Confucianism and who wrote it? The answer is pretty basic, straight from the excerpt if you were, reading properly, paying attention. The answer is the Analects, and it was compiled by his disciples. So guys, we are finished the first worksheet. This was just like an introduction to get you to know how to read the comprehension, pull out what's important. The next examples from the slideshow and the exercise that we're going to do now directly apply to grade 11s from South Africa. So yeah, we're going to do those now. As I said, the worksheet was more just to see your reading skills and your listening skills. Yeah, a very basic introduction. So we're going to go into more depth with these next exercises. Okay, so we're just going to read through this excerpt from a past exam paper, grade 11 exam paper. There's just little paragraphs and questions relating to the paragraphs. So I'm going to read through it with you guys and read through the questions, and then I'll answer them after I've given you guys some time to answer it. So the paragraph says, it's 2015 and YouTube has only been around for 10 years. But already one wonders what a canny, creative teenager did on a slow suburban weekend before it came along. In the meantime, parents panic about the internet, fretting about stalkers and pornography and bullying, worried their kids will be brainwashed by fundamentalists. For teenagers, YouTube is an extraordinary democratic, libertarian medium. It's a community of peers, much like the underground press was in the 1970s, but without an editor. It's a free platform on which artists, actors, activists, the makers of cake pops, and the knitters of onesies can exhibit their work. So question 1 based on this paragraph is, state the difference between how parents and teenagers view the internet. Refer to paragraph 2. So as you can see, I've kind of given a hint by making the color of the fonts different in the first and the second paragraph. So the question says, state the difference between how parents and teenagers view the internet. And then note that it says refer to paragraph 2. So it wants you to specifically refer to the teenager's point of view of how they view the internet. So the answer is that teenagers use the internet freely and fearlessly spend weekends browsing, while parents have fears about it, lest their children are corrupted by it somehow. So for this question, you should still obviously refer to what the parents feel about it, but always remember to put it in your own words. Because the question says refer to paragraph 2, mainly focus on the teenager's view of the internet. The main thing is that you don't just regurgitate what is said in the paragraph. You should interpret it in your own way and use your own words so that the teachers can see that you are interpreting what you are reading and not just regurgitating what's in the paragraph. So in my answer, I have said teenagers use the internet freely and fearlessly, spend weekends browsing. This is different to just saying YouTube is an extraordinary democratic libertarian medium. I specifically transformed the answer into my own words to show that I have interpreted it. If you just regurgitate what's in the paragraph, you're not interpreting anything. You probably won't get the marks because the teachers aren't seeing what they want, which is for you to interpret the passage. Another thing you should note is that in this passage, parents and teenagers view the internet in opposite ways, which is something you could mention as well. You could say that teenagers and parents do not view the internet in the same way whatsoever, and then carry on with your answer. There's many ways and different answers you can interpret it, but the main thing is to just see that the parents view it in one way and the teenagers view it in another way that are complete opposites. You should then just describe how is it opposite. So how do the parents view the internet and how do the teenagers view the internet?
Yes!
The second question is based on this paragraph. The entertainment magazine Variety reports the most popular vloggers now have substantially bigger teenage fan bases than mainstream celebrities. Many young vloggers are using their YouTube fame to rally support for causes and charities. After reading John Green's best-selling novel, The Fault in Our Stars, Percy Van wrote a song about young people living with cancer and donated the proceeds to a hospital in Western Australia. British lads Jack Scap rode across India in a tuk-tuk for the Teenage Cancer Trust, and they've recently become advocates for greater understanding about mental health. British YouTube star Zoella, whose channel has almost 8 million subscribers, has shared her own struggle with anxiety and shared coping strategies. The question reads, comment critically on the motive of the vloggers mentioned in this paragraph.
Yes!
So when answering this question, I specifically highlighted or colored in blue to rally support for causes and charities. This is because it's the overall aim of vloggers that the paragraph is trying to get across. So by saying many young vloggers are using their YouTube fame to rally support for causes and charities, it just shows that this is the overall motive of the vloggers mentioned in this paragraph. So the official answer from the memo is that the motive of the vloggers mentioned, Troy Sivan, Jack Scap, and Zoella, is apparently selflessness, compassion, as they have all either donated money to worthy causes or shared self-help with YouTubers. There could be a hidden agenda, though, to get a bigger fan base through these worthy contributions. So an important tip to note is that you mustn't necessarily mention each thing that each vlogger has done in this case. So don't mention what Zoella has done, don't mention what Troy has done, and don't mention what Jack Scap has done. Rather look at the overall aim and try link what they have in common, which in this case, the most obvious thing is that they want to help other people or that they want to contribute to worthy causes. Another thing that you could mention is that there could be a hidden agenda to get a bigger fan base, so to get more followers or whatever for being so compassionate and for donating. This could generate good publicity for the vloggers. This is just if you want to go an extra step and say that, like for a counter argument type of thing. I used to do this a lot in my exams, is just look at both points of views. I think it's a good way of guaranteeing marks. Main thing is that you just interpret it in your own words, give your own words, draw out common factors that the bloggers have, and mention them. But remember, put it in your own words. Don't just regurgitate what is said in the paragraph. This does not show interpretation, and that's the main reason for having comprehension. Okay, guys, so we are almost there. We have one more example slash exercise. So just push through. You can do it. You can do it. Give it your best shot. This is the last one, guys. Give it your all. You can do it! So for this last question, it's just a basic graph asking you, is it surprising which age group views YouTube the most? Give a reason for your answer. So sometimes in comprehensions, you'll see they'll add like tables or graphs, and then you must interpret the data. That's also quite an important skill, is that you need to take data from a graph and just interpret it. The graph's title is YouTube March 2015 Unique Visitors by Age. On your y-axis, you have the amount of people, and on your x-axis, you have the age groups. So as you can see, the age group 25 to 34 has the most amount of unique visitors, whereas 65 plus has the least amount of visitors. So yeah, I'll give you guys a few minutes or a minute or so to answer the question, and then I'll give you the answer afterwards. Okay, so for this question, you can either say yes or no, whatever you prefer. I think the most common one, in my opinion, is to say that yes, it is surprising which age group views the most YouTube, because we would normally expect teenagers to be more inclined to watch YouTube as their cell phones are constantly with them and they would want to explore all the different videos available on YouTube. The alternative answer is no. People aged 25 to 34 are the working force of the country, and would need relaxation after a hard day's work, or might need information for job purposes, which they can find on YouTube. As long as you make sense, you're most likely to get the marks. As long as your answer corresponds with the data that's shown on this graph. I would have probably gone with the first answer in saying that yes, it is surprising because teenagers are usually on their phone. You'd expect more younger people to be watching YouTube. They're more tech savvy. They need more entertainment. They're addicted to their phones. You could say stuff like that. That's probably what I would go for. The second route, which is no, because people aged 25 to 34 are of working age and maybe they need information on YouTube, is also a valid answer. I think an important tip in this sense is that you can see, in almost every question that you get in English, there will always be two answers that you can go for. The most important thing is to not let this throw you off. Rather, pick one side and go with it. Stick to that side. Don't be in between, This goes for essays, for comprehension questions, English in general. They want you to see both sides, but pick one side and stick with that side. Be confident in whatever answer you go with. Don't let the fact that there are two ways about going this question throw you off. So just because you can say either yes or no, don't let that throw you off. Just pick yes or no and just stick with that and answer confidently. And make sense. Make sure that what you say makes sense regarding the question and regarding the graph. Okay guys, so that's the end of our lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you. If you're confused about anything or you need more clarification on certain topics, we're going to have a Q&A session now, so don't be afraid to ask any questions.
It's not a matter of whether or not we can. Everybody can, but not everybody will. How to turn nothing into something. How tangible are ideas and imagination? Ideas that become so powerful in your mind and your consciousness, they seem real to you even before they become tangible. Imagination that is so strong that you can actually see it. You can actually see it. If somebody cannot see it when it is not here, then it will never be here. Start looking into the future of what you would like to accomplish, where you would like to go, the person you would like to be. Decide what you want and then act as if you already had it. And that is to believe that what you imagine is possible for you. So the first step is to imagine what's possible. Second step, to believe. Now here's the third step, and that is to go to work and make it real. You now go to work and make it a movement. You make it tangible. You make it viable. You breathe life into it, and then you construct it.
You have a lot to offer. The fact that you're still here means that your business is not through yet. People don't do what they know in life, but what they do is they operate within the context of the vision they have of themselves.
So write and draw and build and play and dance and live as only you can. Make up your own rules. The rules on what is possible and impossible were made by people who had not tested the bounds of the possible by going beyond them.
You must change what's possible for you. You, and only you, are the subject that impacts the burning desire in your imagination. You are living and feeling as if your future dreams are a present fact.
Will it be easy? No. Will it be challenging? Yes.
So you got to prepare yourself. You've got to develop yourself. As long as you're breathing, you got some more work to do. There's something else for you to achieve. Guess what? You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to make a lot of mistakes.
So now go and make interesting mistakes, make amazing mistakes, make glorious and fantastic mistakes. Break rules, leave the world more interesting for your being here. Make good art.
It is possible to start with nothing and become something.